righty. I'll have you all stand. We're going to have the invitation and pledge allegiance to the flag.
Let us bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we come at this time thanking you for your grace and your mercy. Lord, we thank you for allowing us to come together to have this meeting. We're asking for your guidance and your wisdom as we go through the cases that's presented this afternoon. And Lord, at this time, we're also wanting to remember those two victims that was deceased this morning in the fire here in our county. We ask that you be with their families, not only today, but for the days ahead, Lord. We ask for your protection, your guidance, and your comfort for their family members. In your name, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ordinarily at this time we would have the reading and approval of the previous minutes, but we found a few little things that we think need to be addressed. And given the good audience that we've got, we're going to defer that to next month. Do I have a motion to do that?
I'll make a motion.
Everybody, in a second? Second. Further discussion, all in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. All right, there is no oath.
I'm sorry, just to be formal, is that unanimous?
Yes. Yeah. It'd always be unanimous if we were moving things along. We have no old business. We have some new business though, and it's been brought to my attention. Where is Miranda?
She went to make copies.
She went to make copies, but it's been brought to my attention that we need to appoint a secretary to officially compile our minutes, and so it's been recommended that Miranda Kimball take that position. Do I have a motion? I have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Next, I want to recognize Charles Reese. Charles is our new planning director. First week on the job, is that right?
Second week, right?
Second?
Second Monday.
Charles, stand up and tell us about you. We want to know where you come from and what you've been doing and what you plan to do with us.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Charles Reese. I am from Spalding County and City of McDonough. I live in Atworth. I have about 23 plus years in planning and zoning. I'm very excited working with this wonderful staff, this wonderful county. I love the mountains and just very excited. And looking forward to working with the Planning Commission moving forward. And this county is a great place. And we just want to make sure that we continue to provide smart growth. If there's going to be growth at all, provide smart growth and to protect our citizens. That's why I'm here. And my office is always open. If you have any questions, just come on through. You don't have to make an appointment. Just come and ask for Charles, and I'm there in the office if you have any questions.
Very good. Thank you, Charles. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to now open our first hearing, RZ 190675. Ashley, are you going to?
I am.
You're going to give Charles a break?
I am. This time. I don't know about next month. So I'm going to go ahead and apologize in advance too. The PowerPoint's having trouble, so I may have to click in and out throughout the night. The first one we've got is RZ 190675. It's Lamar, Argroves. This property is located on Wren Road. It's accessed through an easement. They plan on going from ag to rural residential. It's an existing 4.171 acre non-conforming ag tract. And that parcel number is 040068003. The intent is to sell that lot to a family member so they can build a single family dwelling. And then here is where it's at on the location map. You can see right up here is Wren Road. Tally Mountain Road North is right here, and Mr. Argroves owns some property around that. One individual parcel that he's rezoning today, but it's most of his property is accessed from Tally Mountain, but this one is accessed from Wren Road according to the plat. And then you can see on the zoning, it is surrounded by ag and rural residential both, and the character area for this one is rural residential. With that, after reviewing the applicant's request to rezone that 4.171 acres, staff recommends approval for it to be taken to rural residential. In addition to this memo, I hereby incorporate the entirety of my office's video and file recording for the planning commission's hearing, including but not limited to all witness testimony, in order that this information be part of the record and shall be available for the Board of Commissioners to review.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Argroves, are you present? Oh, right.
I can't hear that.
Come on up to the front so we can see you. You're Lamar,
Yes, sir.
welcome.
Thank you.
What would you add to what Ashley has said, or you don't know what she said?
Just about don't know what you said. I heard my name and I heard 4.1 acres and off of Wren Road, but I got hearing aids, but it still don't do very good.
Sorry.
Well, you made the petition, so you want to rezone it to
Yes, sir.
rural residential.
And my niece is wanting to buy 4 acres of land. I'm trying to finish my house and I need to sell some land
Got it?
and finish my house.
Okay. All right. Any questions? Let's talk about this. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any questions for the staff? Do I have a motion? We have a motion to approve the recommendation of the staff. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Thank you. You're good to go, Mr. Argroves. All right, we'll close that hearing and open the hearing on RZ 190-679. Farmer's Box.
So Mr. Farmer is located at 1036 Firetower Road in Jasper. He is requesting to go from rural residential to agricultural with his 20.39 acres that is contained on parcel number 040041. The intent of his request is to plant ornamental trees for resale. As you can see on the map, we've got Mr. Farmer's property right there, and he actually submitted a site plan that's not on here that looked like about right here. He's gonna be planting those trees about halfway down his property. And then you can see the surrounding zoning is ag. They are large tracts in general on Firetower Road on that side. And then you've got the few surrounding rural residential tracts. The character area for this location is rural residential. And with that, after reviewing the applicant's request to rezone the 20.39 acre parcel, staff recommends approval of the request to go from rural residential to ag. In addition to this memo, I hereby incorporate the entirety of my office's file and video recording of the planning commission's hearing, including without limited to all witness testimony, in order that this information be part of the record and shall be available for the Board of Commissioners to review.
Thank you. Mr. Farmer,
Yes, sir.
come forward. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. Tell us about these trees you're gonna plant.
So I've been visiting, we did landscaping, I was visiting some of the nurseries in the area. And it kind of convinced me that a lot of places, including Pine Tree, are going to start requiring native trees. So I've been getting with her, so she's gonna let me know what to plant. And then there'll be for sale to her nursery as well as other nurseries and also private individuals.
Interesting. So, what native trees did she suggest?
She's coming up with a list for me of ones that, that she's having a hard time getting.
Gotcha. Okay.
It'll be approximately, the center part was correct, about, no more than about an acre of land dedicated to that use.
Any questions for Mr. Farmer?
Live right there.
I'm sorry?
Live right
No.
Very good, thank you, Mr. Farmer. So we have a recommendation from the board to go from RR to AG. We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Good luck, Mr. Farmer.
Thank you.
All right, we'll close that hearing and open a hearing on RZ 190682, 1893 LLC. Change the name of that. Keep that for a little while. Angela?
So this property is located at 215 Crossbow Lane in Talking Rock, very close to Hinton Millen. They're requesting to take the 7.41 acres from highway business to industrial. Parcel number is 033148006. The intent of the zoning request is to correct the existing zoning. It was initially taken to highway business to operate that manufacturing business that Mr. Armour currently runs. But according to the land use table, it actually needs to be industrial to operate that land use, or that, within that land use. So with that, bear with me. There is the map. And this is the tract that Mr. Armour owns. And as you can see here, it is currently highway business, and there's some neighborhood commercial, rural residential, and ag in the area. And the character area for this is the Crossroads community of Hinton. With that, after reviewing the applicant's request to rezone the 7.41 acres from highway business to industrial, staff recommends approval. In addition to this memo, I hereby incorporate the entirety of my office's file and video recording of the planning commission meeting, including but not limited to all witness testimony, in order that this information be made part of the record and shall be available for the board of commissioners review.
Thank you. Brian, welcome back.
Well, thank you. So some of you may remember that we've been here before on this property. It was, originally it was zoned ag, and we, for our business, our building, and then we, wanted to build this building over here, so we went from ag to highway business. And Wes Fry was director then, and he recommended highway business, and I didn't question it. I didn't have any idea what intensities were or what, so we did that. We built the building. We've been in business for several years since then, and recently came to my attention that we're not allowed to have a machine shop in highway business. So I thought, with administration changes and turnover, it might be a good idea to get that secured so we don't have to worry about that in the future. Not planning to change anything, we're just continue doing what we're doing properly. Yeah, properly now.
Maybe you do it all along.
And I did put this little page up there for you guys to read, so it shows that it's not even allowed in that district.
Any questions for Brian?
Is that an understanding?
Not right now, we're just trying to secure our future. We did sell the business at the end of last year. And we have a long-term lease in place. We still own the building and the property. So that's the plan. They're based in Duluth, but they are Chinese. Yep.
Questions? Thank you, Brian. Do I have a motion? We have a motion to approve the recommendation of the staff. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. All right, Brian, sounds like we got it right this time. All right, thank you. Good to see you. Stick around if you want. I'll stick around. All right, we will close that hearing and open the hearing on CU 190683 Global Gear LLC. Ashley,
This is located at 11178 Henderson Mountain Road. It is a conditional use permit request for 14.67 acres. The parcel number is 058028002. The intent is to obtain a conditional use is for operating a missionary training center. As you can see on the map behind you, I went ahead and included those location maps. You've got on the left the zoning map and the right the location map that shows the parcel in question. It's surrounded by ag and rural residential currently. With this one, and I have spoken with Mr. Condrey about this, we have reviewed the request, and based on the information that we were given, there was limited information from previous administration to now. And we didn't have enough in there to make a sufficient recommendation, so we're recommending that it be tabled for this meeting. And in addition to this memo, I hereby incorporate the entirety of my office's file and video recording so it may be made available for the Board of Commissioners to review.
okay, thank you. Is Mr. Condrey here?
Yes.
Come forward, sir. Well,
Thank you.
so apparently there's some missing information that needs to be obtained.
That was what I was made aware of yesterday.
So the recommendation that you table it. You comfortable with that recommendation?
Aye.
So I guess we'll see you in the future.
Lord willing, we have a meeting on Wednesday.
And that meeting is to,
To inform me of what I need to do to make sure that we're ready for June.
all right, well, we'll look forward to seeing you in June.
I do too. Thank you.
Mr. Burnett?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Before you proceed, you can formally get the board's vote to table it to if you want to bring it back at the June meeting, that'll be to the June meeting.
Yeah, I was gonna, we had one person who
Oh,
wanted to
sorry, I
speak,
apologize.
and I want to make sure whether or not they want to speak. Jeremy Burnett?
It's all right, I'll wait till June.
Okay, yeah. Good. All right, so, do I have a motion to accept the recommendation of the stand table?
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion, is there a second? A motion and a second, further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. All right, we'll see y'all in June. Good deal. All right, our next hearing, we'll close that hearing and open a hearing on 19ERZ 190684 JTF Holdings.
This property is located at 2811 Waleska Hwy 108 in Jasper. They are requesting to take a 45-acre tract from agriculture to highway business. That parcel number is 064066. The intent of the zoning request is for the current property owner to sell the property to an individual for the development of a commercial business park. Here is the current map for that property. It is, when you turn onto 108, it's the chicken houses on the left. And it's got the surrounding properties around it. And then this is the current zoning map. It's currently ag, surrounded by ag and rural residential, along with highway business across the street. That character area is suburban residential. This is the survey for the initial part of the proposed development that was given to us. You can see that there are 6 small, I say small, they're not small, 6 buildings proposed in what they're looking at doing with the development. Very similar to what's across the road. With that, after reviewing the applicant's request to rezone the 45 acres from ag to highway business, staff recommends approval of this request with a condition that the property is developed consistent with the land use intensity table 6-1-1 and section 67-8 of the ordinances. In addition to this memo, I hereby incorporate the entirety of my office's file and the video recording of the planning commission's hearing, including but not limited to all witness testimony, in order that this information be made part of the record and shall be available for the Board of Commissioners to review.
Mr. Bender?
Yes.
How are you, Mr. Fender?
I'm good, thanks.
Are you the current owner?
Yes,
Okay. You're in the chicken business.
afraid so.
Is
Well-
the chicken business not good anymore?
No, it's a tough business. It really is. Bought the farm about 8 years ago. Happily retired, wild hair, 20 acres and a tractor got me into the chicken business. We've estimated about 14 million chickens have gone through our place in the last 8 years. The buildings are older. It's going to require a good bit of upfit to get them ready to sell as a farm. Interest rates killed the farm last year. We paid over $100,000 more in taxes. In interest than we did the year previous. And I've got to sell it or pull the plug on it, one or the other. We do have is under contract now, contingent upon several things. We're clicking those things off, but this is a big one right here, the zoning business. We feel this is the best use of the land at this particular time. To resell it as a farm, very, very difficult. There's not any impact on the school system or recreational or anything else. I think it's certainly going to improve the tax base for that use of that property. So that's reasons why I'm here, and hopefully get approval.
So, who's the market for your chickens? Where did they end up?
With Tyson, we're a Tyson grower.
And you did 14 million.
Yep, about 350,000 is when we're full. Times 5 flocks a year, times 8 years. A lot of chickens.
So you have a lot of respect for farmers.
I grew up on a dairy farm and very much appreciate what goes into producing food for us. But not at this farm.
I understand. Do we have any questions?
Now, the prospective buyers are present if you have any questions for them. I think that they would be willing to answer any if you have any.
All right, any questions for Mr. Fender before we? Okay, very good, thank you, Mr. Fender.
All right, thank you.
I would like to hear from the prospective buyer.
Okay.
How are you, sir?
Good evening.
Your name?
My name is Jeff Miller.
Jeff Miller. Where do you live?
So I live in Cherokee County, out of Canton. I operate a business off of Main Street called 1-800 Packouts. So we currently are in Pickens County now. We're kind of capped on our growth. We're in 5 different locations right now, and we looked at this opportunity to purchase Mr. Fender's property so that we could bring all of our business together into one location. We are across the street, that business park that's across the street. We have 2 buildings there. So for us, when we learned that this property was available, it seemed to be a dream come true for us because it's just close and it's right where we need it to be.
Somebody just built a brand new building across the street there.
That's that was another feller. I believe it's Mitigate is that company. So they're right around the corner from us.
So if this goes through, you're gonna consolidate everything on the other side of the street,
I'm going to expand.
expand.
Yeah, so we'll keep those 2 buildings because they're already set up and they're running. But at least they're close where I have those 2 buildings. I have some on Main Street. I have some on Hood Road. We lease, and this would allow us to put a permanent footprint into Pickens County. Whereas right now we're just leasing. And lease rates go like this, and I would rather secure our financial future by buying and putting deep roots into the community.
Size buildings.
We like 10,000 square foot buildings because they're easy to build, they're easy to manage, and they're set up all the same. So we're in the insurance restoration business. What we do is We go into people's homes and we retrieve all of their content, and then we process it, we clean it, we restore it, and then we take it back to them. So that keeps a lot of things out of the landfill, lets people's sentimental items go back to them. As a matter of fact, 2 years ago, we won the Pickens County Green Ribbon Award because we kept a lot of stuff out of the landfill.
Do you expect any problems, construction, insurance, that
So with that, you see the floodplain there. We have a little bit more work to do on the survey to understand exactly what it would mean. So if we needed to bring in fill, so we have a little bit of work to do there. But certainly, further to the west, that's higher ground, just makes the tract smaller.
There's no sewage line,
Mr. Fenn,
One across the road that
across the street is the sewage.
we've spoken to the city about tying them to, and they've been real. I think they will do that, they'll let us, from what they know.
It showed 6 buildings, are you gonna limit that to 6 buildings?
No, we'd like to expand all the way to the back of the property as business progresses. We may even put some additional buildings in so that we could sell them or lease them out. So that would be our future plans.
Anticipate those.
I don't have a good answer right now.
So the traffic there would be, those are trucks bringing that furniture and stuff in and out,
We have,
those employees.
yeah, box trucks, transit vans, and then automobiles for our employees to come. We don't run, big heavy equipment, down that road.
How many employees?
Currently, right now, we have about 74, 75 employees.
And this will enhance them.
That would be the goal. So we have, as far as our business goes, we have great opportunity in front of us for some accelerated growth. But we're limited on building space. So when we run out of buildings, we have to stop accepting new work.
Further questions?
Excuse me.
Question.
I'm going. My property joins Mr. Fender's property. He's been an excellent neighbor. I've grown chickens all my life, so that's not a problem. I'm across from the industrial park. They provide me light at night, so I have no problems with that. My problem is my husband and I bought property that joins him back in 2020. And
Yeah, and we get more formal,
I may be
just get her name.
shouldn't even be here. But in 2020, my husband and I bought 14.44 acres from Roland Buchanan that joins Mr. Fender's farm. And I didn't think there was any issues, and then next thing I know, there's somebody out on my property surveying. And apparently there was an issue of 4.96 acres in question, and the surveyor had an old survey. And I told him, I said, well, I think this is my property, and I've been paying taxes for the last 3 years on that property. My son bush hogs it. We took down the fence that was there, and Mr. Fender even went with my husband and located a corner lot so we would know where our land was. I just want to make sure that because Mr. Fender had told my husband that he had 40 acres, and now I see it's 45. I want to make sure that they're not taking that 4.96 that I think I own and is recorded in the courthouse.
Before we proceed, can we get your name just?
Donna Cloud.
Okay, thank you.
I have answers to that.
Do you? I hope so. Because I have almost had a heart attack over this.
Okay, hold on. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, come forward.
All right. Here was, just to answer this question here.
When the deed was prepared on the property that I bought from Mr. Buchanan in 2016, there was an exception there where 4.99 acres was taken out. It started out with 49 acres. I thought it was 45 to start with, but it's actually 49. 4.99 was removed, and that's Ms. Cloud's concern. The attorney that drew up the deed went to the whatever records you go to. He picked up the description of 4-point-something acres that Mr. Buchanan owned up at Jerusalem area. Put it in the description as that 499, which was to go to Ms. Cloud. So it's a matter right now of the attorneys messing up, straightening out their mess. But as far as Ms. Cloud and her 4.99 that's in front of her house, that's hers. No question about it. We've got to get the title, as far as I'm concerned, with my buyers. Get that description straightened out. So that's where the confusion is. But it's easily straightened out.
If I could show you on the plat, her property and what the survey looks, if you mind, I could come right behind you and show you.
Let me just give them.
Okay.
This is this is the tract that we're all talking about. She does own it, but there's no question about ownership. It was just placed in, it was a mistake done by the attorney back in the years. And actually, it's to everybody's benefit to get that corrected.
Ashley, you have your information system.
I mean, it'll be something that we definitely will check before we issue any kind of permit or anything. This survey came in today, so it would be just a consistency on the legal side of verifying.
So just for people's benefit, this is the tract that we're looking at purchasing. This is the hard line. This dotted line goes all the way to the road. It's roughly 1,200 feet, 1,199 feet. And this is the land that she's talking about. It's outside of our zoning request and it's outside of our purchase.
And definitely, if there's any questions or something, we'll make sure it gets cleared up against the Board of Commissioners.
All right, thank you.
I think I saw one more.
Yeah, we've got one.
That's me, there we go.
Okay. James Mullins? Oh, James?
Tams, it's Tams actually.
Oh, okay.
That's T-A-M-S.
Okay.
It's a weird one. I own the property right behind y'all, behind this property. My only concern is that, I'm not opposed to what you're planning. My concern is that as you grow it or as you want to sell, more buildings and stuff, that it turns into something more industrial. We just bought the 62 acres behind it a year ago to get out of Cherokee County. And I know I didn't get that far out of Cherokee County, but I got out of it and I don't want to go back to it. So I don't want to, the whole point of coming to Pickens County is because of the ag. We're running a cattle business back there, so we would love for y'all to make sure that, any of y'all's business doesn't overflow into our property as far as people or trash or whatever. I don't know what all y'all are having, but that's our main concern is, we bought a little piece of paradise back there and we want to keep it our piece of paradise as long as possible. So that's my 2 cents of it all. Okay?
Thank you. Further questions from the board?
Yes.
Oh, we have another speaker.
One more.
Okay, yeah, I didn't have you on my list, did I?
We got him
here a
right.
little late.
Okay, that's all right. You are,
My name's Anthony Cagle.
okay.
I live in what's called Cagletown,
Oh,
which is not actually a town. But I own property connects on to the guys here. My main concern is what kind of buffer we want to have between them and Shark Mountain Creek. It's a pristine stream. I want to make sure I've got no problem with development, you know, that's income based, we need jobs in Pickens County, but we need smart development. That's part of that. The property's in floodplain. I've hunted and fished in that area. I'm 66 years old most of my life. Ain't been an inch of it I ain't been on. And what I'm looking for is how big a buffer do you have between, say, your buildings and the creek, and how are you going to prevent runoff going into the creek?
Sure. We'll have those, we'll always direct questions to us, and we'll.
Okay.
Thank you.
My question is, what are they going to do to keep like I said, that part of that's in floodplain. It's real low. Some of it's not going to be suitable for building on.
Right.
Okay. What do they do to keep runoff going into Sharp Mountain Creek and to prevent what's happening in lots of other areas? What are they going to do about that situation? That's my question.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Ashley would explain the process that is going to go through.
Yeah. So once it's time for the permits and stuff to pull for the development, that's something that's addressed at that time. There's not only state buffers, but we also have county requirement buffers from any kind of water and from that floodplain. So there's certain, due to the disturbance of land that they're probably gonna have there, they'll probably have to submit for ENS plans, which will go to the state for review. Because anytime you disturb more than just 1 acre, you've gotta go through that process. So they have to have those buffers and those measures in place that's approved by the state prior to starting their development. So that's cleared at the state level and the county level, so that's something that would be looked at that point in time. As well as due to the surrounding zoning, if it was approved, you're gonna have highway business surrounded by ag and rural residential. With that, you've got an additional buffer for landscaping and for the mixed use densities to have that additional buffer too. So that's all stuff that would be heavily addressed during the building permit process.
A lot of people don't even know it. A lot of people might not even be aware
Right,
of where this area is, but that is designated as level 2 trout stream.
absolutely, and that's something that the state has on their list of
Okay.
level 2 trout streams.
So that will be taken care of.
It will, yes, sir.
Okay, that's my main concern.
Yep.
I hate to see pollution in
Absolutely.
any form.
Yeah, and we've got people that'll be out on site, or, red card and blue card holders that would make sure that the EMPs are in place to make sure that it's undisturbed.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you. All right, further discussion from the board or questions? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve it with, the office that asks for some conditions on that.
Yes.
Those conditions that, the Title 6.1 section, 67A also. be approved.
Do you have a motion? Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? All right. Call for a vote. All in favor? Unanimous. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. All right, we'll close that hearing and open the hearing on our last item. RZ 190685, Holly Family Trust. Ashley.
So this property is located at 5545 Cove Road in Jasper. They are requesting to take a 2-acre portion of a total of 21.72 acres from ag to rural residential. That parcel number is 045023001. The intent of the zoning request is to sell the property to an individual for the development of a single family home. As you can see here, this is the subject property that they are looking to cut some outline. And they did submit a copy of the survey that shows what piece would be cut out, but I wasn't sure locationally on there where exactly that is. But you've got that tract, and then as you can see, it's zoned ag and it's surrounded by a couple other tracts of ag and a lot of rural residential. And the character area for this is suburban residential. With that, after reviewing the applicant's request to rezone that 2 acres from Ag to rural residential, the staff recommends approval of the request. In addition to that memo, I hereby incorporate the entirety of my office's file and a video recording of the planning commission's hearing, including but not limited to all witness testimony, in order that this information be made part of the record and shall be available for the Board of Commissioners to review.
Okay, thank you. Is the applicant here?
My brother Richard Corey is the applicant, but with your permission, I'd like to speak for him.
Okay, come forward. You are.
Jerry Corey.
Well,
Thank you. If it'll help, I can show on that map where the 2 acres is. If you see the road that's going up in blue, that's Corey Camp Road, and right where she is with the red dot is the 2 acres. So it's right where Corey Camp turns to the right there. So the reason for the, so I'll start here. My family owns everything on the left-hand side of Corey Camp. That's our name, and I live at the top property, and my nephews live below me. My oldest brother, Richard, would like to move on that property with us. His oldest son, Bruce, lives across the street on Corey Camp. Holly Family Trust, my friend Wayne Abbott passed away with during COVID. So they really don't use that property much. It's more like a little vacation cabin that they use. So she is willing to sell us the 2 acres on Corey Camp. Although their address is still 5545, they didn't change it when we changed the road to Corey Camp. She's willing to sell us those 2 acres. And I'd like to move my brother and my sister-in-law across the street from me and her oldest son, Bruce.
so it's the original 2 acres were AG.
I'm sorry?
The original 2 acres were AG.
It's agriculture. It's about 22 acres is that whole piece that the Holly Family Trust has. And we'd like to take that 2 acres out of Corey Camp.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, we have some folks that want to speak. And I've got, Daniel.
May I speak first?
Yeah.
I'm Phil McCagle, I'm the trustee for the Daniel Family Trust. You're receiving a packet of information that culminated over the past 8 years with regard to the Daniel Family Trust property, which is downhill from the property in question and also happens to be in a high-risk floodplain. Over the past 8 years in particular, but actually you can extend that to 15 years. As you start looking through the slides that I've given you, we estimate that we have lost 50 to 60 acres of mostly hardwoods upstream of our property, Daniel Family Trust. Due to clear cutting for various large tracts of land being sold for agricultural / residential, so a lot of people have clear cut, which would include, I would say the last time that there's been large cutting, I won't call it clear cutting, would be for the Curry Camp property. You have a definition in your county guidelines that says a subdivision is defined as section 38(1) as a single parcel of land into 2 or more parcels, and all future subdivisions of land in the county shall comply with these applicable provisions of this chapter. So certainly you've got 3 pieces of property already tied into, actually there's 4 pieces of property tied into 1 driveway. And so you're asking to put a 5th home there on that same driveway, all of which happen to be upstream from my parents' property. So in fact, exactly what they're talking about, there will be runoff that will go into the Northwest Creek. Our parents' property, the Daniel Family Trust, has 3 streams that culminate at the very bottom, southernmost point of their residence, which then goes under a culvert on Cove Road. Keep in mind, the culvert on Cove Road was installed in 1967. There was no Cove Road up until 1967, that was a valley. And that was a corn patch at best, okay? So my parents have already given up quite a bit of property, and they've also been dealing with, over the years, flooding. But now the flooding since the past 8 years, because of various clear cutting, literally, the last major clear cutting was 18 acres of hardwoods, virgin timber. Okay, no buffer left for the creek. We've dealt with the EPA. We've called in county people. We've got proof of that. Okay, so as you go through there, you see the Northwest Creek, the crossing. That creek accesses our garden area. That used to be a county maintained road. It's no longer maintained by the county, it's us. Okay? The next door neighbors, who also happen to be in that high risk flood zone, installed a culvert on their side of that crossing. But now that culvert just increases the velocity of the water and dumps more water down the stream. We're having a really difficult time with erosion. If you'll look through there, you'll notice that we lost a tree already, a pretty large tree. I mislabeled it as a cypress. Sorry, I'm not the tree expert. It's a cedar. But it was a very large Christmas tree that my dad decorated for years. In 2016, as soon as we had the major clear cutting and that neighbor moved in, we then tested positive for E. coli in our spring water, which is located also just right there in that same area. We've had to install a brand new water filtration system for our mom's residence. I also included the various experts that we've spoken with and that we've dealt with over the years on that particular page. And I gave you just an example of some of the sediment that's in the water and how dirty it can get with just one rain. After 1 hour's worth of rain nowadays, I've got you pictures there of how bad it floods. It is unbelievable. I've got you pictures in there of grandchildren who used to do just like my sisters and I. We could just literally jump over the branch. We called it a branch. You could jump over any branch at any narrow point. There are no more narrow points. We've replaced bridges. We're doing rock. We're doing everything possible to prevent further erosion. Our property is literally winding up on Highway 53 in Marble Hill. That's where our property is. Also notice that it's messing up the county road system. Cove Road now has water on it. Since 2016, this has never happened. I'm 56 years old. Since 2016, now you have water that is collecting on Cove Road, and it's coming down from 5595 and Curry Camp Road. It comes straight across through there and it piles up on the road. Never have had that happen before. Okay. The culvert that was installed in 1967 for my parents' driveway now has wash holes on both sides of the driveway around the circumference of the culvert. That culvert and the main culvert under Cove Road was installed in 1967 for a community that was all agricultural, mostly hardwoods, hardly no traffic going by there at all. I could count the number of trucks that would go by on a Saturday morning. So now my parents' property literally rests in the bowl of a funnel-shaped topography. And we have taken out 50 to 60 acres of hardwood timbers. One hardwood tree, now that I've learned from arborist experts, one mature hardwood tree takes up 200 to 300 gallons of water per day. This is not pine trees. These are 100-year-old oaks that were taken down. And my parents' property is getting washed down the drain.
You said we have taken out, somebody else has taken out.
Yes, correct. Yes, you're exactly correct. So, yes, and so we are, we're just very concerned. We're all about families living close to one another. We're all about, having property and being private property owners. But we're very, very concerned because exactly that location right there, we have pictures of water running off across the Abbott's driveway and down into the Northwest Creek. where we are having massive problems right now about being able to access our garden. And that's just one of three waterways in our property. So we respectfully ask that you strongly reconsider approving this.
Thank you. So you were speaking for the Daniels,
Yes, I am the trustee for the, yes,
because I have two other Daniels here.
yes.
So everybody's in covered.
No.
I'm Patsy Fields Daniel.
You're fancy.
Yes, I'm Patsy.
Well,
Thank you. I purchased my house, 5613 Cove Road, and 52 acres more or less in June of 1960. The property included a barn, 2 garages, and some outbuildings. Now, where the house and the barn are situated was swampy, and it was a large part of what I now call what I now call my yard, but it was corn patch then. The 2 branches that run on either side of the house and the spring, which has always been our water source, runs approximately 20 feet from the porch. 2 branches and the spring meet at just a point just beyond the barn. In 1960, the water flowed freely through the valley and there was no Cove Road. Cove Road was built in 1967. A large culvert was installed and combined creeks to blow through, dividing our property, and I call that the tunnel. It's a wonderful place to entertain children. The county built a driveway using the smaller culvert for the water, but within a year that had washed away. Now, prior to Cove Road, the community used Route 1, a county-maintained dirt road running downhill from what is now Bruce Drive. It went behind our house and it crossed 2 shallow creeks, and then it meandered uphill, something parallel to today's Cove Road. It was used by the mail carrier and the school bus until the mid-80s. Now, we continue to use this road because we need to access our garden and the property that's in back of it. My family history includes 5 generations of living in this valley. In the past 15 years, I've witnessed more erosion to the creek banks and the damage to the spring than in all the 80 years that I've had the pleasure of living down in that hole. I request Pickens County consider the riparian rights of the Daniel Family Trust, and that the county faithfully enforces the mitigation of adverse natural features that would endanger the health, safety, or general welfare of the inhabitants of the land and the surrounding areas by meeting or excelling all Georgia laws and regulations for the mountain protection. Thank you.
And you are?
I'm Dana Daniel.
Okay, Dan.
I'm another one of her daughters. Okay. I oppose this rezoning from agricultural to residential because before my dad passed away, I took pictures and documented. I worked and got samples of water. And so you test the water, the turbidity of the water. And that shows the clearness of the water. And similar to what Mr. Cagle talked about, our water is not clear anymore. It's been destroyed. And secondly, I also consulted with an environmental attorney. I sought out the best one that was available in the Southeast, Don Shostak. Yeah, I sought him out because, and please don't take this as offense, I know that the young lady here had said that the county protects property owners' rights. But in my experience, I should not have had to have engaged and hired Don Stack or Mark LaRue as civil engineer scientists, Kellen and David Shostak. Shouldn't have had to done that. And secondly, the guy from the EPA, Tracy Feldman, I had him on speed dial. And Tracy Feldman admitted to me that when it comes to Pickens County and to Fannin County, that they have to watch this county and Fannin in particular for because of the lack of expertise when it comes to zoning. So I don't mean that to be ugly, but the point is, we did have an environmental lawsuit. And the point is, in a court of law, my family did win because we were able to prove that the water quality had suffered. There's, as my mom referred to, the riparian rights. That's the rights of people that live on a waterway. And basically, it's trespassing all this debris on our property. And so I'm just telling you that, you know, I'm 62. There is not one piece of the Holly Family Trust and the other surrounding property that, just like Mr. Cagle, that I've not walked on. There's not a hardwood, a fern, any type of plant that you can name that I don't know of. So I oppose this because in 2016, the county allowed this other family to clear cut 19 acres and they bulldozed everything down. And all the red mud followed in. All right.
Would you like to comment on what you've heard here?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Talk to him.
Yeah.
Me.
Great.
I understand the stream that crosses the Holly family property. The 2 acres is way above that stream area. The property line doesn't go to the creek and it doesn't even go to the blue floodplain area that's on the Holly family property that leads down to these nice people's property. Their property's down below where both those creeks come together. The 2 white homes at the bottom are where their property is. But this property is about, if the way the bird flies, a quarter mile from their property. And it doesn't go near, it's not in the floodplain at all. And, you know, silt fence and everything that we have to do per code to clear the top part of it. And we won't even be clearing an acre of the property. It's already been cut and bush hogged. There's a few stumps that are left in it. But where the home's gonna go is right on the stone road of Pori Camp, right where the turn is. That area is already flat. We just have to flatten it a little bit better for a slab. We're not digging a basement, we're not digging any other property, and there's a big buffer of land that's not gonna be disturbed between us and the floodplain.
Are you party that clear cut?
No, Wayne Abbott had a company come in and they cut the land. The only thing we've done is we've bush hogged the land, just to keep it nice and clear. I mean, it still has briars and, you know, berries and stuff like that growing on it, but there's not a bunch of trees on it. The only trees are on the outskirt. There's like maybe 6 trees on the outskirt of the property. There's no trees left.
You've not done anything?
We haven't done, no, the only thing we've done is bush hog, because when Wayne had it all cleaned up, he cleaned it all up. We just maintain it because we don't want it to overgrow on the.
So did Wayne did, okay.
It clear cut, you're meaning cutting the trees down around the property? Yeah, that's been cut, that was cut years ago, when Wayne was still alive. And it's just that corner.
Okay. Fred Bowers?
You can go ahead.
Mine's a little bit different.
That's okay, they've got plenty of
Okay.
information.
Mine's a little bit different from them there. When I drove by and I saw that they wanted to change it from agriculture into residential and recreation and so forth, it just lit a bell because of our tax situations here, jumped up so much and so forth. I'm more concerned with what's being agriculture on the part that's agriculture, because I'm finding that a lot of families do not do anything to agricultural property. They just want to be able to get a tax break. And I'm one of those that wanted to do that, but I was told that if I didn't do something in agriculture, somebody was going to come and check and determine whether or not to continue that. And so I chose not to do that for that one reason. So I'm thinking about all the tax money that we're losing if there's no actual agriculture going on. Mine's a little bit different. And I feel like this toward everybody, not just for this situation here.
Understood. I'm sure you talked to Mr. Jones.
I have. Interesting conversations. Okay. It ain't working too well. But just not just for me, but I get a little upset when I see agriculture being named to get a tax break and not do anything about that. Okay.
Thank you, Rick. Good to see you. Do we have any follow-ups here?
I would very quickly call your attention to you have aerial views now on is it Q Public? I guess it is. So I pulled just a sample of that. I'm having you compare 2015 with 2024, but you could look at 2018 and 2019 when the property was purchased by the Currys from the Abbotts. The Abbotts only cut the timber that had beetles in it and that kind of stuff, and that was, okay. But, so you can look at 2018 and 2019 on Q Public if you care to, and you'll see that, yes, quite a bit of timber was cut in order for homes to be put in. And I mean, well, you can see the significance between 2015 and 2024. And again, hardwoods take up a lot of water, y'all, and it doesn't matter how far you are away when that topography is such a funnel shape. It's just ripping down through there. So thank you again very much for your attention.
Mr. Chairman, my second.
1 second.
That'll be a record for me. One other thing I'd like to add, since all the clear cutting has happened over the last, let's just say 8 to 10 years. When my mother-in-law mentioned the culvert on Cove Road, the creeks, the creeks, the 2 creeks in the spring, that water winds up going under Cove Road, and that creek goes all the way down to Marble Hill, if you know where Harbin Road is, right there near Emrys and what have you. At the end of that culvert, on the opposite side of the culvert, because of the velocity of water, the amount of water has increased so much. And not only the quantity, but the velocity has increased probably 5 to 10-fold, without exaggerating. Years ago, when our kids were small, they would, as my mother-in-law mentioned, they would love to tump the culvert. They'd run through it, splash on it. You could step off the culvert into the creek, and it might be ankle deep. Now, if you do that, without exaggerating, it's close to knee deep right there. When my wife and I first started dating, shortly after we got married in 1990, they leased or let some family members, cousins, I guess, that was pasture on the other side there. Had a horse. That horse would go from the barn over across through the culvert, and if that drop off had been real deep, that horse would have broken his leg and what have you. So he lived there in that pasture for several years, and so I'm just saying, just like that, the water has been. It's unbelievable how much water. Yeah, in the Cooks and Marble Hill, on Harbin Road, that's where all the debris winds up, either on the side of the banks along that creek going towards Marble Hill at Harbin Road, or it winds up right there in the Cooks Creek yard and what have you. So,
Very good. Thank you. Further questions from the board?
I have a couple of questions. The grading that you can be doing, or what is it exactly? What kind of grading are you going to be disturbing? Just
Yeah, it's just a slab. Right now, the land is already pretty, kind of level where the slab's gonna go. There is gonna be some work though to continue it. It leans just a little bit up to Quarry Camp, and we have to level that out so we can put a slab there.
You've already got the driveway established and all that?
No, but right where it comes off of, where Quarry Camp turns to the right, my nephew's house is straight above Quarry Camp. If you took Quarry Camp straight to the top of it, but where it curves just a little bit to the right, the house is right there and the driveway's right there. Right as you make that little bit of you just turn that corner to the right.
Some very minimal stuff you're doing.
Yeah, there's not even much work for the driveway, but there is work for the slab.
You said in the quarter mile buffer between your property and yours.
Yeah, their property is down where all the blue comes together where the two white houses are. Theirs is the white house to the bottom. And if you do it like a bird flies from their house to the edge of the property where there's a power line going up to the cabin, where the Hollick Family Trust has that cabin, that's about a quarter mile.
Is it woods?
No.
It's
The people, the people next to them where the big white house is up above to the right of their home, that's clear cut. That was clear cut. I don't know when, but I know you had a lot of issues.
2006.
Yeah, and I know there was a lot of issues when that was cut. And then there's trees from his property over to the power line of the cabin. And then from the power line, there's probably 3 or 4 trees in a line, and then it's bare. And then there's 2 trees on the corner, 3 trees on the corner around Quarry Camp.
How many trees you actually would be cutting approximately?
I think it's 3 trees and then there's 2 dead ones. I mean, totally dead, like you would picture on a horror movie.
So the third tree that you cut, did you go into plant?
Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna landscape the front yard. And then the backyard, the house is gonna face Cove Road, but it's it's like 1,400 feet off of Cove Road. The back is gonna face the woods between the house and the cabin. That's all gonna stay natural woods. The backyard's gonna be maybe half of this room. And then the front yard will be from Quarry Camp, where it goes around the turn, from the stone road of Quarry Camp to the house.
Do you feel like that this would impact or I guess what I'm trying to say, do you feel like the damage is already done?
No, sir, I do not. I don't feel like it's, I would say this. In 67, because they basically took away our access to a drive, they had to build us a drive. And after a year, that culvert got washed away. So what I would like to.
And when you say they.
The county, Pickens County, yeah. And so the only thing I guess I could ask for, if you choose to approve this, then I'm going to ask that the county be prepared to start installing culverts and start repairing and bridges and start repairing some creek banks, because we're tapped out. We're tapped out. And no offense, like Dana said, we've already dealt with the powers that be that are supposed to protect and the buffers and that kind of stuff. We can't replace some of the stuff that's gone.
Mr. Chair, if I may add just a moment.
Give you 1 second.
I'm going to ask a half second here. You know, we have paid, our family has paid a lot of expense out of our own pocket to make these repairs, because again, I came up here personally years ago and spoke with some, I'm not going to mention names, but you know, who was ever running the county office, planning development office. Y'all were not here, so I'm not casting these stones. You know, I tried to ask for some help and received pretty much just, you know, more or less, oh, well, can't do anything, blah, blah, blah. But we've incurred a lot of costs, expense, replacing footbridges, and again, the culvert underneath the driveway going down to my mother-in-law's house, that's technically on the right of way, so Pickens County, in fact, and it's washing out around both sides slowly but surely. The county's gonna have to be prepared to replace the culvert. And again, again, not trying to be unneighborly, by no means, please. I'm as much property rights person as you'll ever find, but as long as it doesn't impact other people.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You know, this is not the first time that we've heard of a lot of concern about runoff and problems like that. And I think, I personally would like to come out and see what's going on there. And my recommendation to the board would be to table this until such time we can do that. And those of you that want to do it, can contact you, Bill, is that right?
Yep.
And come out there and take a look at it. What's important is we make the right decision, not a fast decision. And so, I would entertain a motion accordingly. I didn't have you, sir. I'm sorry.
Didn't I fill out that piece of paper you said? I thought that's what. Sorry. I filled out a piece of paper, wrote down number 6, I thought that was the street, that's fine.
Okay. Now, if you have something that we haven't heard that we need to hear,
Well, I don't know if you need to hear it, I'm willing to say it. That's my older brother. All he wanted to do was spend the last 2 years with his family. Not asking. This land is already there. If you build, you have to put a fence in, you have to stop all the dirt from going down the street and all that. That's all the district thing. All we're doing is asking, move it along so we can actually start preparing this. I guess that was it.
I like to move to the table here until side.
we have a motion to table, is there a second?
We did a date to the next meeting.
Table June meeting,
June, yeah. A motion to table till our June meeting, is there a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second, is there further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Motion carries. So we'll get back in June. We'll have you back on the agenda, and we'll give the board the opportunity to look at this so that we all understand exactly what we're doing.
So we would come back to this type of meeting in June.
Yes.
Do you need our phone number so you can look at the property? You said you wanted to go look at it.
We would like to, we'll get your phone number and we can arrange to come out and meet with them and we'll do it.
Staff and this type.
Yeah. Get it with the staff and we'll make that happen.
Yeah, one of our today.
Yeah.
I thank everybody for coming and your attendance and comments. Y'all, you heard a very interesting discussion about runoff. And we've heard it many times. And so it's something that bears a lot of attention, particularly as we see more runs, to make sure that we get it right. And everything is before us. I recommend that to you, so focus on. We look forward to working with you.
Same.
Further comments from the board? Further comments from the public? Thank you all for your attendance. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Further discussion. All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you all.